Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I'm CurlyGirlAngelaG, and today we are going to do a NoPanLeftBehind update. So in case you're new to my channel or to this project, it's basically where I am randomly rotating through my single shadows and eyeshadow palettes to make sure everybody gets some love this year. I choose 2 palettes and 2 single shadows at random using the Tiny Decisions app, and then I choose 1 palette and 1 single shadow myself that I want to use for the month. And then I set some loose goals on how many times I want to use them or how many looks I want to create. And so it's that time again. So I'm gonna first show you last month's, let you know my thoughts on everything, and then we will choose some new ones. So let's start with the palettes. So the first palette that was chosen at random with the Tiny Decisions app was the e.l.f. Hot Chocolate palette. And this one is no longer available, but I did use every shade in here, and I created multiple looks. A couple of them I didn't take pictures of, but I did create my 4 looks. That was my goal. I think I actually used this like 7 times, but at least a shade or 2 out of it. But I'm gonna go ahead and pop the pictures of the looks that I created with this up on the screen. Now I will say some of these looks will have more than 1 palette. I may have used my Pan That palette, which is the e.l.f. I Love You Latte, or I could have used other palettes that are in this project or in my deck of panning, because I did have one in there this month. But I have posted most of the looks on different social media platforms. So I really enjoy this palette, and I'm gonna put it back in my collection. I just feel like it's got a lot of nice neutrals and shimmers in it. This shade right here specifically is so pretty. I created a really gorgeous look yesterday. So here are the looks I created with it. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed those looks. So the next palette that was chosen at random by Tiny Decisions was the Jason Wu Flora Matte Suede palette. This is a 9-pan all matte palette, and my goal was to create 3 looks with this. I did use it more than 3 times because, again, like I said, I mixed some palettes together and things like that. But I really like this palette, and I reach for this one quite a bit as a companion palette to like an all shimmer palette or something. I did do 1 matte look out of this as well, but I'm gonna go ahead and pop the looks up here on the screen for you. But of course, I love this palette, so it's gonna go back in my collection. And last but not least was my Juvia's Place The Violets palette. This is the one I chose. This is an all purple palette, and this doesn't have a lot of depth. It's only got this 1 light matte and this 1 dark matte. The other 4 are shimmers. My goal was to create 2 looks, and I did do that. You can still get quite a different look out of this depending on which shades you pair together. So I really enjoyed this. However, I did reach into other palettes to help create the looks, but here are the 2 looks I created. Alright, so I'm going to put that one back in my collection. So next, let's move on to the single shadows. So the single shadow category includes like single pans of shadow that I have gotten a magnetic palette, as well as like crayon sticks, eye crayons, and or shadow sticks, whatever you want to call it, or any single component type shadows. That's all of the ones that are in that category. So the first one that was chosen at random by Tiny Decisions was the Beauty Junkies Cosmic Peach shade. My goal was to use this 3 times, and I did do that. This is just a nice like lid setting shade, and I really enjoyed it. The other one that was picked at random was Gold Flicker by Beauty Junkies. This is a matte. It has just a tiny amount of sheen to it, so you might call it a satin, but I do actually have this one on today in my crease, and I really enjoyed this. And then last but not least was my choice, and I chose Ripe Olive from Beauty Junkies, which again is in this look today. And then I also used the yellow out of the e.l.f. Hot Chocolate palette, but this is the look that I created using the singles for the second time today. But here is the other look that I created the first time. Alright, so that's all of last month's palette. So let's go ahead and move on to this month's now. Because I don't have a second device to be able to do it live on camera, I did go ahead and screen record myself drawing these on the Tiny Decisions app. So I will pop those up on the screen as we go through them, and I am going to set some little goals. Alright, so the first one at random from Tiny Decisions is the Winky Looks Cashmere Kitten palette. So this is a really beautiful cool toned palette that I really enjoy. This has been in my collection for quite some time. I really like this one when I'm looking for a cool tone look, but I like the fact that it's got quite a few, well, it's mostly neutral, but it's cooler tone neutrals with just a few warm neutrals as well. And I am really excited to create some looks with this one this month. My goal is to create 3 looks with this palette. The second one that was randomly chosen by Tiny Decisions is the Identity palette from Persona, and this is one of my favorite palettes in my entire collection. Love this. Obviously it's well loved. I did try to pan this last year, and I really love this palette a lot. So my goal for the month is to create 4 looks out of this palette, and I don't think that will be hard to do. And I would also like to get this shade right here used up this month because it's almost gone, and I would love to see a full shiny little pan in here. And then the palette that I chose was the Colourpop Wild Nothing palette. This is just really beautiful and pretty for spring and going into summer. So I think towards this tail end of spring, I haven't used this very much. I haven't used it in quite a while, and so I wanted to pull it out and play with it. And my goal is to create to create 4 looks with this palette. Alright, so now on to singles. The first single that was chosen at random by Tiny Decisions is the Beauty Junkies Peachsicle. So this isn't much different than the one I had last month, but this will be a nice lid setting shade, and I think this will go really well with the 3 palettes too. So I'm really excited to have that one. The second eyeshadow that was chosen at random is technically 2 eyeshadows, but again, like I said, I am putting these in my singles category, and it's the Bobbi Brown Duel-Ended Longwear Cream Shadow Stick. This one is in the shade Pink Bronze and Espresso, and I have used this before. I do like it, but I'll go ahead and swatch it for you just because these shades do look really pretty on the eyes. And there's that. So my goal is to use each shade twice this month. And then last but not least was my choice, and I chose the Jason Wu single ready to wear shimmer in the shade Heavenly. So this is a really pretty topper shade. I think it's really pretty as an inner corner highlight as well. It leans kind of yellowy gold, but I think it'll be pretty, and especially with some of the other things, it's pretty subtle honestly, but that is the single shadow that I chose, and my goal is to use this at least 5 times this month. So that is my new shadows for No Pan Left Behind for the month of June going into July. If you would like to see any of these products used in a specific video, please let me know down below. Get ready with me, palette bingo, anything like that, multi-look video, just let me know and I can probably work that into my schedule. But if you enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up. That helps me out so much, lets me know you enjoy these No Pan Left Behind videos. My entire Project Pan playlist will be linked down below. That includes my updates for my 2024 Project Pan as well as my deck of panning. So you can check those out, and I also put in any other videos that I do using those products, like if I do a dedicated video for a palette or something like that. So be sure to check that out. And if you're not already following me, please hit subscribe and turn on your notification bell so you're alerted when I upload future videos. I would greatly appreciate it. And don't forget to follow me on my other social media. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. I did start a second TikTok account. I will make sure that they are both linked in my Linktree, which that will be linked down below. You can check that out there. And then also the palettes and eyeshadows are in a collection on my Bendable storefront. If something really intrigues you and you'd like to purchase it for yourself, if it's available, they will be linked there, and it will say eyeshadows, all about the eyes. All about the eyes is what it's called. So you'll be able to find all of those in there. And I will see you again very soon. Have an absolutely beautiful day wherever you are. Bye.